Sometimes you're driving through life and then all of a sudden the car crashes. You simply cannot see ahead. You cannot move. There's nothing to go back to. And it just feels like life is hopeless. You're in a pit and you don't even know how to get yourself. My name is Coach Judy Mzungu. I am a Kingdom Life Coach and I guide individuals towards healing, finding their identity, and rediscovering the path to their purpose. And so just for a moment, allow me to just help you to understand the different areas that you must be able to interrogate so that you can get the vehicle of your life back on the road. And the first thing that you must be able to interrogate is the state of your spirit. If you may, I'd ask, that is the state of the driver of the vehicle. Because it is your spirit that drives your vehicle. It is your spirit that is able to understand where it is that you need to go. It is the spirit that has your identity, your ID about everything concerning you, concerning where you need to go. Jeremiah chapter 1 verse 5, the Bible says, before I formed you in your mother's womb, I knew you. It is your spirit that has the chip that contains or that has your destiny, your identity, your makeup, everything concerning where it is that you need to go to guide you in the path of your purpose. And so for you to be able to truly make it in the journey of life, one thing that needs to happen is that your spirit man must be awake. You must have a conscious, a living, an intimate, an intentional relationship with God. Many times, as we go through the journey of life, yes, we say, at least in this part of the world, that we are 80% Christians. And the truth is, when we encounter the challenges of life, when we encounter the pitfalls of life, our relationship with God somehow becomes distant because of the shame, the guilt, the embarrassment, sometimes just the plain bitterness when life has not worked out. And so the first thing that you must be able to interrogate is the state of your spirit, because it is your spirit that is going to enable you to understand where you need to go, so that you can be able to hear the voice of God saying, this is the way, walk in it. Let's not complicate it too much. The voice of God is just that inspiration, is just that thought, is just that idea. But many times, because of the experiences of the past, people have learned to brush it aside and some have not been doing it. So we must interrogate the state of the spirit. The second thing that we need to interrogate is the state of your engine. You know, when you think about the engine, it's the engine that actually decodes and runs the vehicle. Maybe if you're a lady like me, you might think, Judy, what are you talking about? I don't understand what you're talking about. You know what? It's very similar to the CPU of a machine, of a computer. It is the soul, which is the engine. It is able to decode what is coming from the spirit. And the soul has three components. The soul has the mind, the emotion, and the will. So even as you begin to think about what has brought your vehicle to a standstill, let's interrogate the state of your emotions. That will be very similar to the fuel that runs your vehicle. If you're carrying bitterness, if you're carrying pain, if you're carrying anger, you will not have the capacity to decode correctly. Think about it. Anytime that you are annoyed, and something is presented to you, ordinarily, that's something that you would think about and just be able to decode and say, this is the solution. But in that moment when you're angry, you'll say, I can't think right now. Give me time. The state of your emotions messes up the capacity of your mind to think. Now think about a situation where someone has carried bitterness for a very long time. You will actually see, even in coaching, that in moments where someone's life is not adding up, you will see that there will be a reflection. If they are going to school, there'll be a reflection in their academic performance. If they are working, you'll see there'll be a reflection in their performance at work. So the state of the emotion. Then secondly, I'm still talking about the soul, the engine. Then we'll think about the state of the mind. If you may, that would be the pistons. That is what now keeps the vehicle going. If for whatever reason, there's a problem with the emotion, there's a problem with the fuel, then what will happen? The engine will cease. The pistons will simply be unable to move. And that's what happens to many of us. Our mind, our capacity to see ourselves correctly is taken out by the issues of life. Our capacity to believe in God has been taken out by the issues of life. Our capacity to believe in others has been taken out by the issues of life. When your mind has been affected by some things that happened to you in the past, you stopped believing in yourself, you stopped thinking that you actually have capacity. You started dimming your dreams. You know what? That's what happens because of the state of the emotions. The pain, the anger, the bitterness affected your mind. And when your mind was affected, what then happened is that you stopped seeing yourself correctly. You couldn't see where you need to go. Now you can begin to see where your vision became blurred, and where now, for some people, actually the vehicle comes to a standstill. The plane crashes, the car crashes. They are walking, but they are walking dead. Then, I'm still talking about the engine, the soul. The third component, the will. When someone has been affected emotionally, mentally, for some people, they completely lose the zeal, the passion, the enthusiasm for life. You might wake up in the morning, go to work, pay your bills, but you're functioning at a much lower capacity than what is in you. Now I know what I'm talking about because I've been there for more than 4 decades of my life. That's why I'm so passionate about this thing, because I know that what it means to be stuck and yet wake up in the morning, go to work, pay bills, but simply realize within you there's so much, but I simply cannot pour myself out. I know what it means to feel stuck and wonder how in the world, or what in the world can I do to be able to rise up again? And then finally, I want to talk about the body. Now, the body plays a dual role. It receives from the environment, and that's where a lot of pain, anger, and bitterness, got into the soul. But it also then must have the capacity, or has the capacity, to receive the signal that is coming from the spirit through the soul and then execute in the physical dimension. For many of us, when our spirit and our soul has been affected by the issues of life, what then happens is that now we give in to the desires of the body. So the body now takes preeminence, which it shouldn't. So when the body takes preeminence, what happens? You begin now to give in to the desires of the flesh. That's where addiction comes from. Such a person is probably dealing with brokenness. But because they are not able to deal, their spirit is dead and their soul is wounded, what then happens is that they are using now the flesh to deal with the emptiness that is on the inside. For some people, it might not even be addiction. It might be workaholism. It might be, an exaltation of self. It might be an attachment to things, to our job, to our marriage, to children. Are all these things good? Yes. But an unhealthy attachment to them will cause you an imbalance. And should any of those things move out of position, that's when now many people cannot completely function. This conversation is about us coming to that place where, by the reason of being empowered, to be able to, just change our tires, get the wheel spanner out, put the jack, and be able to change your tires, get back on the road. That's what we need to empower you how we need to empower you to be able to operate. So that by the grace of God, you don't depend on me or any other person. What needs to happen is that your relationship with God must be restored. Your soul must be healed. And finally, your body then operates at optimum. Just so you know, that's what it means to walk in dominion. Genesis 1:28. Be fruitful, multiply, and subdue the earth. Again, my name is Coach Judy Mzungu. See you on the next podcast.